Welcome to bio class. So we were in the continuation of pollination and fertilization. Previous class we have seen the definition of pollination, kinds of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination, its advantages and disadvantages, and the agents of cross-pollination. Today's class will be discussing about the fertilization. So now what is fertilization? Fertilization is the union of the male and female gametes. So here you can also say is the fusion or union of the nuclei of the male and female gametes. This is the definition of fertilization. So in a flowering plants, which is a male gamete and which is a female gamete? The male gamete is the pollen grain and the female gamete is the ovule inside the ovary. And this male and female gametes, they fuse or their nuclei fuse to have fertilization, or they fuse to fertilize. That is happening in the plants, flowers or flowering plants. Now the pollen grains. What are these pollen grains? The mature pollen grain is a cell with a double wall whose outer covering is called as exine and the inner covering is called as the intine. So this pollen and its nucleus has already divided into a tube nucleus and a generative nucleus. This pollen, its nucleus has already started its division where it has extended its generative nucleus and a tube nucleus. So generative nucleus is the male, and at this stage the pollen is transferred to the stigma due to pollination. And further changes is in the pollen grain occur only if it has fallen on the stigma of the plant of the same species. Here we have to keep in mind that if the pollen falls on the same species, then only it will start fertilization. So this is what happens with the pollen grain. The ovule. Ovule is the inner part of the ovary. And ovule is destined to become the seed and the ovary is to become the fruit, which contains the seed inside. So there may be a single ovule producing single seeded fruit or many ovules producing a many seeded fruit. And each ovule has one or two protective covering called the integuments. The integuments leave a small opening at the micropylar end and where from the pollen tube enters. And enclosed to the integument is the nucellus, further which inside the nucellus is the embryo sac. So all these parts you can see in the figure 5.6 on page 44. Again you see the embryo sac contains 7 cells, which is 3 plus 3 plus 1. So first 3 is at the micropylar end, which is 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. Then at the opposite cell again 3 cells which are called antipodal cells, and in the central it's a large cell, and central cell is different containing 2 nuclei called the polar nuclei. So all this is about the ovule. Now the germination of pollen grains. Pollen grains germinate only if it falls on the stigma of the same plant species that we have already known. If not, it will disintegrate. And the pollen grain on falling on the stigma is stimulated to germinate due to the secretion of sugars by the stigma. Through a point in the exine, which is the outer part of the pollen grain, a pollen tube grows out of the pollen grain, carrying at its tip the generative nucleus and the tube nucleus. The generative nucleus divides again into 2 nuclei, that is male gamete or male gamete nuclei, which is called the sperm nuclei. Thus there are 3 nuclei which are not separated by cell walls, and so they have to share with a common cytoplasm. The pollen tube grows through the stigma and style by dissolving the tissues with the help of the enzymes and reaches the ovary. Here it pushes through the micropyle and reaches the embryo sac. The tube nucleus, which has directed the growth of pollen tube all the way down, now disintegrates. And now the pollen tube enters one of the synergids and releases its 2 sperm nuclei. Of these, one sperm nucleus fuses with the egg cell nucleus to form the zygote, while the other sperm nucleus moves towards the 2 polar nuclei in the central cell and fuses with them. And all together 2 fertilizations have occurred. So it is also termed as double fertilization. Again, try to understand what is this. Here what happens, two polar nuclei unite to form a secondary nucleus, and then one sperm nucleus from the pollen tube unites with the secondary nucleus to form the endosperm cell, and the other sperm nucleus enters the egg cell through the assistance of synergids, which then again degenerate and unites with the nucleus. This is how the fertilization occurs in the second time. So 2 times the fertilization takes place. That's why we can say that there is a double fertilization in flowering plants. First, one sperm nucleus fuses with the egg cell nucleus. Second, when the other sperm nucleus fuses with the two polar nuclei together. That is what we call it as double fertilization. The fate of floral parts after fertilization. What happens with the flower after fertilization? You see, the petals, stamens, style and stigma wither and generally fall off. The calyx may either fall off or may remain intact in a dried or shriveled form. Apple and guava shows dried sepals very clearly, and in brinjal it remains in contact. The ovary enlarges to form fruit. Ovarian wall forms the fruit wall. The ovary wall may either form a dry and a hard fruit wall or a fleshy fruit wall. And ovules becomes the seed. These are the fate of floral parts of after fertilization. The fruit contains one or more seeds which are developed from one or more ovules attached to the ovary by means of placenta. And when the fruit is ripe, the seeds contained inside are released by one or the other method and grow into new plants in suitable conditions. And the fate of various parts of ovary after fertilization during the formation of a fruit is that ovary forms the fruit, ovary wall forms the pericarp, and then ovule forms the seed, placenta forms the stalk of the seed, outer integument is the testa, inner integument is the tegmen, which forms the seed coat, and the secondary nucleus is called as the endosperm. Egg cell and synergids are the embryo, and antipodal cells are the disorganized after fertilization. So this is what it happens to the parts of the flower after maturation. So by this we come to an end of this chapter. Hope all might have understood, and please go through the review questions so that you will be much clear about the particular lesson, and try to write all the answers in your notebooks. Thank you and have a nice day.